Rob, over here. Obviously, you were originally scheduled to fight Khamzat back in the summer in Saudi. Before that, he had to pull out, so relatively close. So it's essentially 2 back-to-back camps for the same guy. Has this just kind of felt like just one long fight camp for the same person, or have you been able to separate it and take some downtime before you reset?
I guess like during my camps, I don't really focus too heavily on like my opponents specifically. So we cater the training to counter and to work niches that'll work in the fight. But we don't, it's not like a foolproof game plan. That's why I was able to adapt to the last minute change last fight, was because we're very flexible and open-ended with our training and preparation. Mate, this whole year, like I've been fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to be pretty active this year. This year's felt like a whole camp.
I was going to ask that, but I'll ask it now. Like in the past, you've taken time off, you've had injuries and stuff, but like you said, you've been very active this year. So how's the last year treated you, and just you've been able to stay healthy and just continue to go from these big fights to big fights again? Yeah,
no, it's been great. It's been really great, and I'm blessed to have been in a position to be able to do so. I like to be this active if possible. Obviously due to injury and other circumstances, I wasn't able to be as active as I would have liked. But I think the back-to-back camps, the things that have changed in the training, the things that have changed outside of the gym, they're just all kind of leading itself to where I'm at today.
Was there any concern that he wouldn't make it this time?
That he wouldn't make it?
Yeah.
I didn't worry about it, Sure. They're pretty quick with filling out the spots.
He has said that, he's reunited with some of his old coaches. He's moved his training camp around. He has this new scientific approach. So he's not just training to exhaustion at all points. Are you expecting maybe a different Khamzat, or is it like, the stuff that he does, he's very good at, he won't change. It's just the approach he's taking, maybe not to be exhausted and get sick as much as he did in the past?
I guess I'm not really focusing too much on him. I don't think about him too much. I get asked a lot of questions about Chimaev this, Chimaev that. I don't think about it. Like, he's not on my mind very much. I am expecting him to come out hard and aggressive from the first second to the last, okay? And I have prepared accordingly for that. I've prepared for the hardest fight of my life, to start extremely hard, like sprinting for the first 5 to 10 minutes, but also drag it out to 5 minutes. I'm ready to sprint for 25 minutes if so. And yeah, I come here for war.
Your coach in the countdown said, I think his phrase was, Khamzat's looking for Rob's leg, Rob's looking for his chin. Has that been kind of, I know you don't think about him specifically, but has that been kind of the mindset as like a team?
I look to go into this fight hunting him, much like I planned to last fight. I look to do again this fight. I'm the hunter in this fight. I'm the predator, and I'm going to be looking for him.
And after the Dricus's win in Perth, he was asked, who do you think deserves the next shot? And he said, he interrupted the question and said, Robert Whittaker probably deserves the next shot over Sean Strickland, but he's obviously probably fighting Sean and you're fighting Khamzat. Was there any, talks or hope that maybe you would just get the title shot instead of having to go through Khamzat?
Doesn't bother me. I've never really let things that I can't control affect how I feel or, what I'm doing. I'm here to fight. This is what I get paid to do. This is how I put bread on the table for my family. This is my duty to my family, so here I am.
Last one for me. Can I just get your thoughts on the main event between Ilya and Max?
Mate, it's going to be a stellar fight. I'm excited for it. I find it very hard to tip against Max at any time, just because it's Max, right? But Topuria would have to be his hardest challenge to date, I reckon. Topuria's skill set is probably the highest caliber in the division at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, hard tip against Max, but Topuria's, no one thought he could do what he did last fight.
Rob, it seems like every time you get a fight lined up, the UFC announces an Australia event, like a strangely weird timeline like away. When you look at that February show, do you want to be on it? Is there a chance maybe you can take Sean Strickland's title shot and fight Dricus there? What are your thoughts when you look at that February date?
I don't know why it is, but everyone asks me the same question. If there is a card that is just after Christmas, it is a so-so. Like, it's 50-50, because I got Christmas. And to be honest, my family deserves a bit of time off. whilst I'm the one going through the camps, they have to put up with me. And, I haven't fought as much as I have this year in a while. So they've had to put up with me. Camp rob for a fair bit. Camp rob's no fun.
I think you had said in another interview, like you feel this was one of the best camps of your life and you're just feeling like you're firing on all cylinders. Is that a product of kind of parlaying the work from the last time right into this?
Not just the last one, the entire year. Since the Drickus loss, and I kind of had a bit of a wake-up call. I made some changes, inside, outside the gym. We just sat down and we ripped in. We worked hard. We worked harder than ever. And you can see the results of that work show itself in every fight this year. Every fight I've gotten better. I've started to back myself more. The confidence I take in the victories that I've had. Mate, I'm coming into this fight all cylinders firing.
And with Khamzat's fights, it's kind of been a tale of two stories. Either finishes the guy really quick, or we've seen him go the distance those two times, and he has looked fatigued. He said in here earlier that he thinks in this first 5-rounder, he can push that pace for all 5. Are you curious to find out if that's possible? Because a lot of people look at those Usman and Burns fights, and the idea of him going 2 more rounds seems like it would be a lot.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire it off for 25 minutes. And if he wants to sprint with me, let's go.
Hey Rob, how you doing?
Where are you?
Over here.
Oh, there you are.
Rob, there aren't many fighters in the UFC who are defined by being a family man, right? If you ask me, I'd say it's you and Stipe. We just want to hear a little bit more about, that is the defining feature of Robert Whittaker. How do you get to a point where you can disconnect that? Because that is really what you're all about, and then do what it is that you do and then come back to it and turn us down for February when we're trying to get you for a post-Christmas fight, mate.
Yeah, I guess a big part of it was all about like redefining drives and goals, right? I've been in the UFC for a long time. You don't see a lot of fighters stay in the UFC for as long as I have at the caliber and the level that I've been at. And I think I owe a lot of that to just being able to, being able to redefine my goals, find my drives. When I started my career, I didn't even have kids. So the introduction of kids during that period is it's mind-blowing. Anyone that has kids will understand. It changes you. And I think a lot of fighters struggle with change, because they've had whatever has given them success at the beginning. They don't want to change. Like, I'm like that. I don't like changing anything fight week. But I've made those changes to my family, understanding what is important in life. I have my priorities straight. And I guess to sum it all up, like, I understand what I'm fighting for. I fight for my family. It wouldn't make sense not to spend time with them, at the cost of fighting,
Well, just a little bit more on that, and I'll leave it with you at that one. Australia obviously claims you. New Zealand also claims you, right? So you've got the whole Southern Cross looking to this fight and looking for you. And how do you carry that into what you do, especially when you're fighting away from home in places like Saudi, now the UAE? How do you carry that with you?
I'm very proud of where I live, the country I was raised in. I was very proud of the country that I was born in. I'm proud of the Māori blood that runs through my veins. I'm proud of being an Australian. And, I feel like the spotlight that's on me, the attention that is given me, I owe it, to be respectful, to set a good example, to be a good role model to my countries.
Best of luck, champ.
Rob, over the left. Hello. I want to ask you about that you left a big marks through your career, faced many opponents and the big names and the historical fights, and what it means for you to be called a future Hall of Famer for you.
I guess it's kind of like the cherry on top, right? It's like the icing on the cake. I've always, a big driving point in my career has just been about trying to perfect my craft, become one of the best combat athletes who have ever lived, and I feel like I've done that, but I'm still kind of chipping away at that. I feel like the best years are still ahead of me. I'm finally just falling into a bit of a groove. But yeah, I guess it's kind of just it's acknowledgement that what I've done was for something. That like what I've done has been recognised. I guess like cherry on top.
And which of your fights would you like to see in a Hall of Fame from your previous fights?
Oh mate, that second Yoel Romero fight was mate, it took the life out of me. That was a good one.
And
Hard to think of any other fight bar that. That one was hard.
And one last from me. The many fighters find it fun to use the video games as a relaxation through the fight camps. How about you? How good is it for you to play the video games through your fight camp?
Oh mate, it's not just fight camps. I play video games all the time, 24/7. It's well, as much as my kids and wife allow me, right? It's more than just relaxation for me. It's kind of just like it's a big part of who I am, and I like just like simply, it's easier to not think about food if you're engaged in a game. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty hungry right now.
And to follow up, you mentioned that Demetrius Johnson also plays the video games. Which video game you would like to play against him?
Against him,
Yeah.
I don't really play online games. It's very hard to play online games with kids. Like,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Robert, to your left.
Роберт, в твоей карьере был единственный бой с непобежденным бойцом до Хамзата Чимаева с Исраилем Адесани, ваш первый бой. Влияет ли как-то нолик в графе поражений твоего соперника психологически на тебя?
Before Khamzat, there was only one other undefeated fighter that you fought, Israel Adesanya. Does it matter that there's a 0 across their record when you fight them, your opponent?
No. Like it's, mate, everybody was undefeated at some point. And, yeah, I don't really look at records anyway.
Нет, вообще никак не влияет. В какое-то время кто-то обязательно был непобежденный, поэтому я совсем не смотрю на их рекорд.
Хамзат Чимаев антропометрически очень необычный боец, он высокий, плюс очень хорошо борется. Вот я смотрю сейчас на твоих спарринг-партнеров, на твою команду, и не вижу там высокого, такого сухого какого-то борца.
By physicality, he's a very uncomfortable opponent. He's tall, he's a really good wrestler. I'm looking right now at your team, and I don't see anybody who can replicate him. How do you feel about that?
I train with tall guys at home. I just didn't bring them with me.
Я тренируюсь с высокими пацанами дома, но они просто не приехали сегодня.
И последний от меня вопрос, его передал Вадим Тихомиров с Матч ТВ. Если прямо сейчас Хамзат Чимаев и Икрам Алискеров проведут реванш, кто выиграет на взгляд Роберта?
Last question from the Russian TV media channel Match TV. If right now Khamzat Chimaev and Ikram Aliskerov will do a rematch, who will win?
Mate, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, fights are funny, especially with the small gloves. You don't know what's going to happen. It's that's what makes the sport so exciting to begin with. It's dynamic. It's very hard. It's very unpredictable. You know.
Я не знаю, что сказать. Это очень смешной спорт, потому что каждый раз ничего одинакового не бывает. Каждый бой, каждый по-разному. Это маленькие перчатки, это очень динамичный спорт, поэтому я не могу сказать.
Роберт, приветствую. Хамзат Чимаев, чеченец из Чечни. Вот вопрос такой, с чем у тебя ассоциируется Чечня?
Khamzat Chimaev is a Chechen from Chechnya. The question is, when you hear the word Chechnya, what kind of association do you get?
I'm sorry, my geography is terrible. Like, terrible. Like, I'm not even going to sit here and pretend I know half of the places up here. Like, I live at the arse end of the world, you know, in Australia. And honestly, I'm a bit of a wombat. I don't really expand my horizons too much.
Я очень извиняюсь, но у меня очень туго с географией, если по правде. Поэтому половину вообще мест в мире я совсем не знаю. Я живу в очень далеком месте, я живу в Австралии, поэтому я не особо расширяю свои диапазоны. Я как бы то, что я знаю, я знаю.
То есть, правильно понимаю, он не стал гуглить, там что-то изучать, просто оставил это дело.
So am I correct to understand that you never Googled it, you never learned about where he's from and all that stuff?
Correct.
Правильно понимаешь.
Да, and the last one, sir. Знаешь ли ты, кто такой Буайсар Сайтиев? Просто интересно.
Кто такой?
Буайсар Сайтиев.
Do you know who Boyasar Sartiev is?
Sorry, no.
Нет, простите.
Robert, to your left, it's very nice having you here in Abu Dhabi. Did you or Chimaev or even the UFC push to make this co-main event a 5-rounder?
I don't know. I'm sorry, mate. I don't know.
So you did not ask it
For
to
5
be-
rounds?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? Like, 5 rounds is so much harder than 3 rounds, right? I know I've had a lot of them, but they're not fun. Yeah, it kind of just worked out this way. But I don't know. I'm in the fight game. If you want me to fight for 3 rounds, 5 rounds, 10 rounds, I'm going to train for it, prepare for it, and I'll turn up.
Because as you know, the past 2 fights for Chimaev, he looked very tired at the end of every round against Usman and against Gilbert. And I think against you, this will not work, especially when it's a 5-round.
It's hard to say. It's like he's had such success with his like really hard starting fighting approach. Okay, regardless whether he gassed or not, he still won those fights pretty handily, and then it was due to the amount of dominance he had in those first rounds. Now, I'm expecting the best version of himself. I'm expecting a guy that comes out hard and a guy that will last. Okay, I've prepared for it. I've trained for it because I'm not going to train thinking that if I get out of the first round, it's game over. You know, I'm preparing for the best version he can offer me, a super soldier, and yeah, I've done that.
So we'd love to watch you fight forever, Rob. Don't ever retire, please.
Thanks, mate.
Hi, Robert. Yusuf here to your right. Yeah, Khamzat, when he was here, he said that you know how to lose. For him, he is undefeated. He doesn't know how to lose. What do you think you bring differently to the table, especially that all the fighters before you who fought Khamzat, they know that he's a wrestler. He will go and shoot from the beginning and keep pressuring. What do you think you have differently to overcome that?
Mate, experience. I'm good at what I do. I'm a different fighter than he's fought before. And I guess maybe the fact that I know how to lose, you know, gives me strength, gives me a reason why I don't like being there, why I don't want that to be my reality. You know, it sucks. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give him a taste of it.
Last question. The fight between Khamzat and Kamaru Uthman, if it was 5 rounds, who do you think would have won that one?
Mate, what if's is tricky, but Usman was catching up. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Rob, hi, over here. Your career has been remarkable, I'm pretty sure you will agree, in the way that you've been able to stay on top of the division, in this case middleweight division, for almost 10 years basically. And so it kind of looks like when you take a look at your record, you fought the previous generation, your generation basically, and now Khamzat is kind of can be viewed as the representative of the next generation of mixed martial artists. So my question is, to what do you attribute such a remarkable longevity?
I guess I mentioned it before. It was the reevaluating goals and drives, you know, changing along with life. Because a lot of guys don't want to change what works for them. But like I mentioned earlier, 10 years ago, I'm a very different guy than what I was there. And, you know, I've changed accordingly for the better. I think I'm a much better fighter than I was 10 years ago. And, yeah, I'm only getting better.
Can you give an example of the changes that you've made, something specific?
Yeah. A lot of it's mental. It's mentality. You know, it's changing goals and drives and really understanding what drives you. And, you know, you can say what drives you, but if you don't feel it here, if you don't understand it here, you know. You know. But there's a lot of things. There's like most of it's mental, but some of it's also just physical. Like I don't drink soft drink anymore. You know, how much of a difference that makes? I don't know, but I'm stronger for it, I reckon, because I want soft drink really bad, but I don't let myself have it. Now I'm stronger.
Well, I think some of us can be jealous of such a resilience.
Iron fortitude.
Yeah, definitely. So you said that you reevaluated what drives you, and what drives you now, like today?
My family. You know, I'm going to use the word again, duty. And that's a strong word if you understand what it means. It's my duty to be there on Saturday night, to turn up and to fight Chimaev to the best of my ability for 25 minutes. I am not leaving this country without doing that, no matter what. This is my duty to my family, and I'm here to do that.
Well, best of luck with that.
Cool.